Hey everyone, Dixie here. Excited to be back. I answered my pregame questions, but I thought that it would be fun to just go through and do a quick tier list of the cast. So there's 32 of us, so this is 31 people. There were originally 40 All Stars, but obviously 8 dropped. Thought before we get started, I would just do a quick rundown of my feelings about the ones that dropped. Sora. Sad to see that Sora isn't here, but I'm not surprised. Josh Crook isn't really into the player side of orgs these days, and so totally respect that. Ellie slash player zero. Not going to lose a lot of sleep over the fact that they are not here. They were kind of somebody that I was hoping maybe I wouldn't see. I think they're nice, but they're pretty frustrating to play with, as evidenced by my experience with them in Oomphy Island and some of the horror stories that I heard about Void 5. So I'm kind of glad that they aren't here. Lilia slash Rec. My big mouth gets me in trouble, so I'm kind of happy that Lilia isn't here just because I talked a lot of smack about them in the Survival Horror 8 Viewers Lounge. I was not a big Geraldine fan, was more of a Miri and Vaughn fan when it came down to it. So if they are the kind of person that holds a grudge, which would be understandable, then it's a good thing that they're not here. Season 3, the season that I was in, looks like Nab isn't here, which is sad. I like Austin a lot. I would have been excited to play with them. Tally, probably better that she's not here. I tend to hate when people say, I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. But with Tally, I did feel bad about how things ended with us, but I do still think that voting her out was probably the only move. Even looking back 2 years later, I do think that that was a crossroads for me, where if I hadn't have voted against Tally, I probably would not have won the game. Season 4, it looks like we're missing Chihiro, another person that I talked a lot of smack about in a viewer's lounge. I'm so sorry, Chihiro. I think you're like a baby child, so I totally get why you took a lot of what was said to heart, but I'm glad you're not here because I just don't have time for that. Yasmin isn't here. Josh Crabtree, totally get why they declined to return. Still a little bit sad. They're so fun, but I get it. Would have liked to see them, but I get it. And then finally, Coco from seasons 1 and 5. She did not return, and can't say that I'm upset about it. I think that Marta is kind of a nightmare to play with, and there are enough chaos gremlins in this cast, so I think that plenty of people fill the space that she would have filled. And so without further ado, I'm going to try and do this relatively quickly. But I've got my tiers. So bestie, these are people that I would be elated to be on a tribe with. I'm friends with them, and I know that there's going to be some amount of camaraderie just right off the bat. I like you is the next step down, obviously. These are people that I would also be excited to see on a tribe with. Not as familiar with them, but I think there's this really solid foundation for me to be able to work with these people. Well, maybes are going to be the folks that I really don't know what to think. I think it could go in a certain direction, but I do have some reservations. Maybe not. I think it's kind of just one of those, let's play it by ear, see where it goes. Looks around. So this tier is devoted to the people that I really don't know anything about them. They're pretty much question marks to me. I'll have to admit, I haven't really done a lot of research on the first 2 seasons I watched season 4 pretty closely. Season 5 I was in an org during, so it was kind of hit or miss. But yeah, there's going to be a lot of people from season 1 and 2 that I maybe just don't really have an informed opinion on. So I'm not necessarily going to be upset to see them on a tribe with me, but I'm also not going to be super excited about it. Finally, we have our nopes. I think that these are few and far between, but these are individuals that I just generally do not enjoy playing with, or am not looking forward to playing with based on my experience watching them in other games. So without further ado, let's get this rolling because I have spoons to do in about 30 minutes. So gosh, hopefully it doesn't take longer than that. We'll start out with Aerith. Aerith and I, very good friends. I've met Aerith in real life twice. The only person in this cast that I can say that about. I love them dearly. They're very good friends. We were Final 3 together in Battle Royale 3. She has to be bestie. She just has to be bestie. There's just no way about it. No way around it. I definitely trust Drew. We haven't talked a bunch lately. Our last work experience, we were definitely kind of not, we didn't really work together per se. So that was kind of a bummer. But I really, really love Drew and want nothing but the best for them in this game. Banjo. Banjo was in my original season. We didn't really work together much at all. We were mostly on opposite ends of kind of a sides war. That said, they are a pleasure and I really enjoy them and I would love to be on a tribe with them and work with them. Cade 6. So Cade / Chris, I feel like there might be a struggle for us to connect just on a friendship level. They're very bro-y. A lot of what they're talking about in the main chat makes me glaze over. I'm just like, oh, this is going to be a chore. That said, they are a fellow winner. So I do think that if they're on a tribe with me or if we run into one another at a swap, there's an opportunity there based on the fact that it might be mutually beneficial for the winners to, like, if not work together, kind of look out for one another. And I can tell just based on kind of seeing him poke around in the main server that he is definitely excited for this and wants to do well. Conquer is somebody that I feel like was a big character. I didn't really find his shtick in season 4 to be all that funny, but he was a good player. I think there's potential. Didn't really like the people that he worked with initially, at least. I don't remember her name. There was the what's her name and then Chihiro. And then I liked Leah, but they were just kind of the boring alliance, so I was glad that got toppled. So yeah, all of that is to say, I think Conquer's a well maybe. Crash is our first looks around, just because I don't really know much about them aside from what Daisy has told me about season 1. But I get kind of chaos vibes, but maybe in like a DK way as opposed to an Urbosa way, so jury's out. Celestia, love Tyler. I've known Tyler for a long time. I'm so impressed by the person that they've become, and I think that they are one of the best people in this particular community in terms of mainstays when it comes to balancing just being a phenomenal player with also just being a phenomenal human being. So yeah, Celestia is definitely bestie. Dry Bones. Oh, Dry Bones. I loved Eric. We got really close in season 3. He was obviously blindsided. Same round that my game basically came tumbling down and had to reinvent everything. I think he was really robbed. I hope he has a good run here. We haven't kept up as much since the season ended, which makes me sad because we bonded a lot during season 3. I'm going to put him in the I like you, but he could easily reach bestie status again just because of we just had so much fun. Like, we would play Roblox together before I even really Robloxed. Kind of an old lady, so it was weird for me to get on a platform that I know my nephew uses, but Derek and I would get on there and play Outlaster with Vivian at times, and it was fun. He's a fun person. I think that he can be an incredibly effective player, but I think it depends on whether or not he's dialed in, and I think that he has a tendency to, I don't want to say martyr himself because I feel like that carries kind of negative connotations, but I've seen him get resigned to his fate when it's himself or his allies in the past. And that recently happened in Euro Survivor, I think. He kind of did the same thing in Battle Royale, even though it was a blindside. But yeah, I'm excited to see him again and reconnect. DK is going to be my first nope. I think they're chaotic and, with all due respect, not very good at these games. I think it'll be a miracle if they do well in this season. Don't think that they have a lot of social prowess or a lot of just, I don't want to say etiquette, but I just don't think that they really understand a lot of the nuance that can go into some of these games and just the conversating and the just kind of norms and mores. So I'm going to put them in a nope category just because I don't see a lot of a prospect there. Next up is Daisy or Rory. I've become better acquainted with Rory over the last few months. I think a big part of that is that they've kind of been trying to get to know me in anticipation of this season. I know that their win in Battle Royale 1 was really special for them, and it sounds like they had a lot of influence on some of the big game moments. Daisy's been somebody who's been hanging around a lot in the Void server, where a lot of folks both in and out of this cast have been congregating and doing activities lately. I do think that Daisy has a proclivity to get cute, so to speak, just from a making good TV kind of perspective. So I do want to be cognizant of that. We've talked about the whole dismantle void thing that was a thing in Survival Horror All-Stars. I think I wouldn't put it past her to be part of pushing something like that here at some point. That said, I do think that she likes me. I do think she sees some utility in keeping me around as a threat. So I'm definitely putting her in the I like you space, but I'm just trying to remain aware that she's capable of some pretty sneaky stuff. Hamtaro is William K, I believe. Don't really know them super well. They haven't made a big impression on me, so I'm just going to put them in looks around. Carrie / Kendra is another person who is unfortunately going to be a nope for me. Just have not been impressed in the games that I've viewed her in. Those being Survival Horror 6 and Survival Horror 8 in particular. And I also know that she may be close with Urbosa, who's, spoiler alert, also probably going to be a nope for me. Yeah. She's just somebody that I want to word this eloquently and carefully. I'm just not sure that she's my cup of tea. For reasons. And so for those reasons, she's a nope. Okay, Sly is another looks around. I know nothing about Sly. Sindel, I get mixed up with Symmetra. I think Sindel is Maher from the HOHH games, or where is Sindel Ainsley? See, I get them mixed up. I don't know, but all of that is to say their looks around. So I'll just go ahead and put Symmetra there now. Nate. Nate reached out to me. I feel like they were kind of soft, dropping hints that maybe they aren't. Looking forward to seeing some of their season 1 castmates, which I would guess is probably Daisy. They said they hope that they're on a tribe with me. I smiled and nodded and agreed, just because that's what you do. Based on what Daisy said, they sound a little aggro, so I think I'm just going to try and keep them on my good side, see what happens. I think there's a potential there if we wind up on a tribe together, but I don't know that I would put them much higher than this right now. Lara Croft, so it's a little bit complicated when it comes to Lara Croft. Obviously, we had a tumultuous relationship in season 3. She and I didn't meet up until the merge. We hit it off. She played the middle. She straddled the middle pretty well. She was a really prominent member of her original Birdo tribe. Honestly, probably was ready to go all the way with her and Tally before the Dry Bones blindside, where everybody left me out. At that point, I flipped on kind of the people that I was working with, and basically we blew up the whole game. Blindsided Tally. The next round, tried to blindside Lara, but Banjo had 2 idols, so they idled out Cookin' Mama. After that, people drew rocks. Lara and I were immune from the rocks. Final 5, we kind of wanted each other out when 0 won immunity, but Nab ended up going. So Final 4, there was all the mess with 0 giving up his necklace, and I'd like to think that my slide deck skills had a little bit of effectiveness in convincing Lara to basically give him the Eric Reichenbach treatment and vote him out after he gave up immunity. But I don't know. It's probably a mix. I think she was clearly torn, and I think it was ultimately the right decision. I don't know if there's ill will, so I think she's a well maybe, but a low well maybe, if that makes sense. Because I haven't talked to her since she completely disappeared when Battle Royale 3 ended, and I don't know. I don't know about her. But we're not burning bridges unless, we absolutely have to. So we'll cross that bridge when it comes before burning it down. Doomslayer / Benny. I really like Ben. Gameplay style, I don't know that we're super compatible. I think we're both type A people. That said, he's excellent in challenges. So that would in it of itself be a gift if he's on a starting tribe. He's also a good shield. There's a little bit of history. I'm going to try and keep an open mind. I think he's definitely a well maybe. Steve is somebody that I was a little bit critical of in Battle Royale 4, but who I have some mutual friends with, and I think that hopefully there's no hard feelings. I would think it would be water under the bridge, that they wouldn't be hung up on anything that I said. Gameplay-wise, I don't think I personally attacked Steve at all, so I would definitely be open to working with Amanda if we wind up on a tribe together. Josh M / Urbosa, this has got to be a nope for me, folks. I just have seen Josh play too many times, and it's the same old song and dance every time. They're generally, they try really hard to be friendly and exuberant, but it's, at the end of the day, almost always fake, and they're always trash talking people in their confessional. I just don't know how I can trust somebody like that, and especially after Battle Royale 3. I think if there's anybody in this cast with a particularly big chip on her shoulder, it could be Urbosa. So she's definitely a note for me, hoping not to see her on my tribe. Evie, yes, I love Cody Lasso, one of my oldest friends in orgs. That's bestie. I'm so proud of them for how far they've come in life. They're a pharmacy doctor now, which is incredible. They've worked so hard. They're also in Euro Survivor right now, All Stars, so it'll be interesting to see how they juggle 2 All Stars games and a very demanding job. But Cody has been one of my best allies that I've ever had in games, multiple times across the same series in Good and Evil. The last time I played with them was in 2020. They're a very good player, and I would trust them, so I would like to see them. Solius Steph and I have never been super close, but we both came kind of into the rustic verse around the same time. Steph was a little bit erratic in season 4, if I remember. I don't know. I'm kind of sleeping with one eye open when it comes to Steph. So I'm going to put them in, well, maybe. Spyro is Jay. Jay is bestie. Love Jay. Jay and I have known each other since 2020. He's hilarious, super funny. I'm definitely really proud of what he was able to accomplish in season 4. I feel like this might be an opportunity for Jay and I to actually work together in a game, because it feels cursed every time that we find ourselves together. In Arcana 9, we were together, and he was the first out on our tribe, which was stacked, and it was pretty tragic, but we were targeting each other, which is just so sad. In Survival Horror 7, we were never together until the merge, and he just kind of got picked off, and it was frustrating. And so hopefully this time maybe we can make some magic happen together. Zero/Nav is somebody that I've had kind of a roller coaster history with, but I really like Nav. Started out, he viewed me in some game. Well, I viewed Nav in one of his first orgs, back in like 2014, back in the days of Sausage Island. But Nav also viewed me in games post-pandemic in Arcana 9 and Rustic 9, and he was not a big fan of me. But then we played in Battle Royale 3 together and ended up being kind of honorable rivals in a way. Like, we worked together at times, but never ride or dies. We ended up being rivals. He came for me at the Final 4 and failed, and I ended up winning. I do think he would have won season 3 if I hadn't convinced Laura or if Laura hadn't convinced herself to flip in the tie. And so I do think that it'll be interesting to see Nav again, because since Battle Royale 3, we played in Survival Horror 7 together, where he was pretty much my number 1 ally. Until he was blindsided at the final 7 by everybody but me. So I'm going to put Nav/Zero, and I like you. I'd be happy to see him. Quilava/Jamie, and Jamie, I don't really know Jamie, but I know of Jamie from Jay/Spyro, because Jamie's his husband. Seems sweet. Jamie's reached out to me. I think there's potential there, so I'm going to put him and I like you. Geralt/Geralt. I don't know how you pronounce it, but I don't know this man. Sorry to say. He's a looks around. Do I want to duo chat now? I'm going to duo chat now. I really love Ochette. Ochette is best friends in real life with Aerith/Drew's boyfriend Isaac. Drew brought her into orgs. She's incredible. She obviously killed Battle Royale 4. We've since played some games together, found ourselves in the same games, not by design, but we just chose the same project, so to speak. She's become a really good friend of mine. So we played in Void 5 together. We were in the final 3 together and kind of trauma bonded over some drama at the Final Four. We played basically the entire Survival Horror 7 together. Like, we couldn't get away from each other. It was so crazy. We were on the same starting tribe. We swapped together. We were swapped together again. We merged. And then there was a split round where we were together again. And I think, honestly, we're just both so passionate about the projects that we take on that it kind of becomes this folie à deux, and we kind of drove each other and everyone around us insane with our just spiraling. And it was a lot of fun, though. Like, I have a lot of fun with Lauren, but even though she's bestie, I'm kind of hoping she gets a break from me, because it will just be interesting to see if she, like, how we play apart but together. Kind of an Amanda Parvati situation. I think that Ochette is definitely the Parvati, and I'm definitely the Amanda of that duo. But yeah, she's incredible. I can't sing Lauren's praises enough. She won Battle Royale 4. She was the runner-up in Void 5. She was second runner-up, robbed, by the way, in Survival Horror 7. So I will be surprised if she does not do well here. I would be more surprised if she was out early as opposed to an endgamer. Leah is Taylor St. Louis. I really like Taylor St. Louis. I've known of her for a long time. She's also with Carrie, who I know and I respect a lot. Taylor's just really good at these games. I think that we have similar kind of reputations. She was really on the fast track to winning Battle Royale 4 before things kind of got upset the middle of the merge. I was rooting against her kind of alliance with Conquer just because they had minions that were really boring. But I like her, and I think there's potential there. So I'm going to put her in I like you. Vivian. I have some complicated feelings about Vivian as well. So I was having a conversation with Zero about how you can approach an All-Stars game as a winner. And I think it kind of hit the nail on the head about kind of our approaches. I feel like Vivian is coming in, at least the vibes that I'm picking up on are that she wants to defend her crown. Whereas I feel like I'm coming into this game, at least right now, I mean, famous last words, who knows how things will unfurl, but I feel like I'm coming in and I feel like I don't have anything left to prove because I won. Kind of like I'm playing with house money. And so I could see Vivian, she's a sneaky one, so I could see Warren getting tricky and kind of like Machiavellian and going behind backs. That said, I've watched Warren play. They can be pretty clueless sometimes, so it really just depends. So I think there's potential there. I like Warren, but I'm going to put them in well maybe because even more so than Daisy, I don't know that I can really rely on them at all. Sailor V / Gary, really like Sailor V. She reached out to me already and really hopeful that we can maybe work together. Would love to see her on my tribe, so I'm going to put her in I like you. Sailor Iron Mouse. Okay, so this is Ricky. I've known Ricky actually longer than anybody in this cast, which is kind of crazy because I've known a handful of them for upwards of a decade. I met Ricky, I want to say back in late 07, early 08, back in the olden days of AOL kind of platformed orgs. We've had perhaps what one would describe as kind of an enemies to good friends kind of arc. I think a lot of that, has had to do with maybe mellowing with age. I talked to Ricky a little bit, and it sounds like he's back in Toronto and has a mortgage on a condo, and it's like, wow, who would have thought that these crazy kids that were on, like, weird, like, webcam, like, okay, don't be sick. It's just, like, regular, like, socializing apps. But, like, we would be on, like, webcams, like, with a bunch of people and, like, just like, it's just kind of wild to think that I've known this person for over 15 years at this point, or not quite, but close to 15 years at this point. No, over 15. Yeah, over 15. Okay, math is hard. Math is hard. But anyway, I like Ricky. I think that I could work with them. I think that the biggest obstacle is going to be, are they able to connect with others? Because they can be a lot. Um, and then Zag. Love Conrad, but I don't know if I trust him exactly. Don't be mad at me, Yogi. I just think that he's another one that I want to sleep with kind of one eye open. He's got some connections and he's not afraid to upset the apple cart. So, sneaky, sneaky, we'll see. I'm going to put him in the well, maybe category. Um, yeah, so that kind of summarizes what I wanted to say. I really hope this one took because I don't want to have to record another one of these. But anyway, I'm excited to play. So, Dixie out.